In this video, we're going to go over entering the results for our grassroots national tournament. So I'm going to start by going to the the grassroots website, and I'm going to log in as a club director. When I do that, you'll notice that over here on the left-hand side of the screen, under the GRNT section, in addition to the forms and schedule, which was previously there, there's now a results section. That's where you're going to enter the results for the GRNT. So if I click on results, you'll notice to start with that there isn't anything there. You'll only be able to take an action here if you first scheduled your GRNT. So in this case, I haven't yet scheduled my GRNT. So I'm going to click on schedule, and I'm going to enter a date and time for my GRNT. You may have already done this previously, but if you haven't done this yet, you need to start here. So I'm going to go ahead and schedule my GRNT. And now if I come back and I click on results, you'll notice now that I have the GRNT that I just scheduled listed here as incomplete, and now I can go ahead and start entering the results. So I'm going to click on the club number, which is the club number for my GRNT. And then the first step is to select all of the clubs that participated in your GRNT. You want to include everyone, whether they played officially, unofficially, as a junior, etc. You want to include everyone. You'll notice that because I'm running the Club 54 GRNT, it's defaulted to selecting my club, and then it's up to me to select all the other clubs that participated in my GRNT. Now let's suppose, just for this example, that Club 43 also participated. But just to illustrate, I'm not going to select them, and then I'm going to realize that I didn't select them, and then come back. So in this case, I'll just select Club 54, and then say that I've selected the clubs. And then I proceed to the next step. Now, if I get to this step, which is selecting the players, and I realize I've forgotten a club, then I can just go back to the previous step. It's still got Club 54 selected, but now I can add Club 43 and continue. So now, on the second step, I'm presented with a list of all the members in the clubs that I selected in the previous step. So now I'm seeing a list of all the members of Club 54 and Club 43 sorted alphabetically from A to Z. So for this example, I'm just going to choose a couple of players from each of the different clubs, just as an example of entering the results for the tournament. So you go through, you would select off all the players who played, and then once you've done that, you would say that the players are selected and continue. And then it'll list all the players here with their club noted in parentheses. And if you realize, and it'll tell you how many players you've selected. So if you realize that you've missed someone here, once again, you can just go back to the previous step. It'll remember everyone who you'd selected previously, and then if I wanted to add someone else, for example, I'll add Virginia, then I select her, I say that the players are selected, and I continue forward again. So now I've got all the players that I want selected. Now I have to enter the results. So let's go over what's on this particular screen. So there's an ability to say whether someone is playing unofficially or not. So that's this first column. Most people will be playing officially, but if people play in more than one GRNT, they have to choose which one is official. And if they choose that yours is an unofficial GRNT, then you just would check off the unofficial box next to that person so that we know that that's an unofficial tournament. JR is for junior. If the member is a junior, you just go ahead and check the box here. And that's because we need to remove juniors from the prize money and just treat them a little bit differently. So then you have your standard entry of game points, games won, plus points, and minus points. The program will figure out the spread based on the plus points and the minus points. And then there's a count of the number of 28 hands, 29 hands, and grand slams. It's obviously very rare that you would get more than one of any of these, but it does happen very occasionally, and so these need to be counts rather than just a checkbox of whether someone got one or not. So if, for example, if Virginia got a 28 hand and a 29 hand and a Grand Slam, I would change those zeros to be ones. But they all default to 0 since, in all likelihood, almost everyone will not get one of those. So then I just go ahead and enter the results like I would for any other tournament. So I would just go ahead and enter points and spread, assuming no one got. And let's suppose Mary got a 28 hand. So I'll say that she got 128 hand. I've got 9 players here. Going to just assume that 4 players got a 24, 4 players got a 12, and 1 person broke even. So now, once I've entered the results, I save them down here, just like I would with a normal 9-game tournament. And now the results are saved, and you can see that it totals the number of game points down here, it totals the number of games won, it totals the spread, so I can double check whether or not the spread matches up. It depends on whether you have an even number of players or an odd number of players. It might not match up depending on how your tournament was run. But these things let you sort of double check the spread and that your data entry is looking good. Once I'm done with entering the results, then I just go ahead and, just like I do with a 9-game tournament, I say that I'm done. It'll then calculate who gets national points. So you need 24 points in order to get national points, and in this case a total of 4 players received points for getting 24 or more. And then when I click to continue, I see the results. It tells me no one played unofficially, no one was a junior, lists out the number of 28 hands, and it sorts the results based on, from high to low in terms of game points, games won, and spread. Now that I'm done that, I can print the results if I like. So I can click here to print the results, and you can just print these results out, and you can mail this in to Bob in lieu of filling in the existing tournament report, if you like. You'll also notice now that I've entered the tournament results and they're complete, if I go to, for example, my club standings, you'll notice here that Evelyn, who received 24 points in the national that I just entered, that now pulls in directly into the club standings and into the other reports. So as soon as you mark that Grand National, the Grassroots National as complete, those points will pull into your reports, and you don't need to wait for the results to be sent in and entered by someone else, and so that speeds up that process of making the standings for your club reflect your tournament as soon as it's complete. It'll also, when you mark that complete, it'll also, for anyone who's not in your club, their points will show up in their respective clubs' reports as well. And so that's more or less it. Now if I go back to results, now that it's complete, I'll just come in here and I'll see the complete results. If just like with a regular tournament, if you realize you've made a mistake or you catch something after you've marked it complete, you can just go back here to be able to re-enter the data, and then you can go back and change anything that you like at that point. And then when you're done again, once again you would just say that you're done and complete the tournament. And that's entering the results for a Grassroots National Tournament.